Night in Channing Frye, and of course, the greatest women's basketball player of this generation, Candace Parker.
Who?
You know who she is. Don't even try it. Candace, don't even let him start with you.
With me yesterday.
I know. It was part of the joke. It's humor. I got to work on that one. Cross that.
We're thrilled that you guys are here. This is going to be a fun night. As I mentioned, 11 games, a lot of action happening all around the league. A couple of big scorers. In fact, we're going to dive into one gentleman in particular, Bradley Beal of the Washington Wizards. We all know he's a big bucket getter, right? Channing, your thoughts on this game?
He's one of my favorite players. I say that every time he comes out. He moves well without the ball, off the dribble, and the Wizards don't play defense, so you know he's going to get buckets. But 60 is amazing. Give him his credit. He did it on 35 shots, so it's not like he was up there jacking. He was efficient, and just, man, that guy could play. He could play. I love watching him.
He's pretty unbelievable. Candace, your thoughts on Bradley Beal and how he continues to raise the bar for himself?
Well, I think we talk about Steph taking things personal, and I think Bradley Beal is definitely in that category as well. I mean, he felt as though, a lot of people felt as though he got snubbed last year with All-Star, with his team, losing as much as they did. He's got Russell Westbrook this year. It seemed like they were going to start off better than they did, and so I think sometimes, taking that personal, and being able to go out and look around the league. Steph just scored 60, and you want your name mentioned alongside that. So I think it's, this is kind of take it personal time. It's time for the Wizards to either go forward or figure it out. And Bradley, night in and night out, is going to put up numbers, and that's what he did tonight.
He has been so impressive, and as you mentioned, the All-Star snub, we all know what that is like in terms of motivating a player. Bradley Beal seems to keep that chip on his shoulder, and it's paying off well for him. Team is not playing the greatest basketball, but we're seeing Bradley Beal display his entire repertoire. Speaking of entire repertoire, there's a couple of players up in Boston who have a lot in their bag. Channing Frye, Jaylen Brown has been terrific.
Oh, man, his ability to get anywhere on the court and that tandem of Tatum and Brown, I think it's going to be I think this is early. Obviously, it's early, but I think both of them are going to be all-stars this year. My man is averaging almost 27 points. He's rebounding. He's defending. He's doing everything for them and taking over that space that Kemba would normally have. So when you add Kemba to that, Peyton Pritchard, my guy from Oregon, has been balling out this year in his time. In the addition of my other guy, Tristan Thompson, I got the Boston Celtics pretty high up there, but it starts and ends with Tatum and Brown.
Candace, they won by 2 against the Heat tonight. Jaylen Brown with a double-double. Is that going to be necessary for them to continue a high level of play?
Definitely. Boston has to be able to win these type of games against Eastern Conference foes. I've had Boston at the top of my list and since 2 years ago when they made it to the conference finals with Tatum and Brown playing well. And I know a lot of people raise their eyebrows when Danny Ainge made the decision to go with Jaylen Brown over Terry Rozier and, allowed Terry Rozier to leave as well as Gordon Hayward. The team knows, the organization knows who's the backbone of this team, and that's Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And add Kemba Walker to the mix. I think that Boston is always there. They play great defense, and when you're able to defend, that travels on the road, and they're also able to score. And so I've always liked Boston.
All right, another Eastern Conference team since you went there, Candace. The Indiana Pacers have been playing excellent basketball. We know it's early, but getting off to a good start. You see James Harden leading the Houston Rockets. And this gentleman, Sabonis, is a walking double-double. Every game, spoiler alert, including tonight. He's had one. You like that play, Channing?
I do like that play. Listen, he could have got dunked on and been on SportsCenter, but instead he made the right play. Another all-star.
Man, Channing, the old DeMarcus.
Oh, the old DeMarcus.
Would have done
listen,
that. The old DeMarcus, that would have been in the hoop.
Oh, for sure. For sure. But, man, this Pacers team, they just play scrappy basketball. They've been in the playoffs. They have vets, they have leaders, they have stars. I think they have it all. It's just they just need to stay healthy and continue to grow offensively.
Well, you can see John Wall continuing to finish in the paint. We don't know what's going to happen with him, but it's been a good showing so far. Candace, Malcolm Brogdon has been a bright shining light for the Pacers.
Well, when Malcolm Brogdon decided to go to Indiana and left Milwaukee, I knew there was going to be a huge gap and a hole in that offense just because of what he brings to the table. He's a guy that can handle the ball, make plays, makes winning plays at the end of games, but also can defend. And so, obviously a lot around the league, they call him the Prez, and I think he keeps everything calm, cool, and collected with the Pacers.
Pacers starting off the season 6-2, 4-2 at home. They've been playing excellent basketball, 4th in the NBA with assists per game coming into the game tonight. You talked about Malcolm Brogdon, Candace, and what he brings to the table. Channing, what is it about a player like him that can elevate a team to the next level?
I think for me, the biggest thing is he does everything you need him to do. Do you need him to defend your best player? Do you need him to make a big play at the end of the game? Do you need him to box out a bigger guy? I think Milwaukee's kind of kicking himself in the butt for, not that Eric Bledsoe isn't a good player. He's not Malcolm Brogdon, right? And I think the Indiana Pacers knew what they were getting in that tandem of Oladipo and Brogdon. And you throw in Sabonis down there, the physicality, the defensive mindset, and they're willing to grind it out, right? They're not the prettiest team in the world in the past, right, to play. But all of a sudden now, they're just grinding teams down, and they're making you beat them. They'll never beat themselves.
All right, speaking of beat themselves, there's been kind of a growing trend for one of the teams in the NBA. Let's take a look at the OKC Thunder against the New Orleans Pelicans, because that game came down to the bitter end. Candace, Zion Williamson with the ball, doing what he does best.
Yes, getting over into the middle, getting to the paint. There's not a player in this league that can stop him when he gets ahead of steam going towards the basket.
See, I think the announcer and I, on this last shot here, just take 2 steps forward and shoot that thing off the glass. Why shoot the step back 3? I know, obviously, it almost went in, but for me, I guess it's an old school thing. Take the easiest shot you can get, right? You don't have to shoot that step back 3 under pressure. You could have had all the time in the world.
Yep.
But Zion did ball out again. Same with Brandon Ingram.
He did. So the Pels ended up losing by 1 point. It's the 4th game this season so far that they've played in that's been decided by 4 points or fewer. So now they're 2-2 in those games. Candace, what is it going to take for them to close those games out?
Well, I think they have to define who's the closer. And I think all of us realize that Ingram making plays and getting to the paint. He's dynamic. He can create shots for himself as well as for his teammates. But I think that comes with just getting comfortable. This is a whole new system that is being put in with new coach and Van Gundy. You talk about the young group and young core that you have with the Pelicans, with Zion Williamson being the longest tenured Pelican, if you can believe that. There's a lot of just moving parts. And so these are the aches and pains of growing in an organization and growing and comfortable with playing alongside people that you're playing with, as long as who is closing the game for you.
All right, continuing around the league, we're going to take a look at Cleveland-Orlando. Now, this is an interesting matchup because the Orlando Magic has been one of those teams that has been surprising. But here's some bad news if you're an Orlando fan. Markelle Fultz, watch this play. It's not pretty.
No.
It's not pretty at all. Channing, you've been around a long time. You've seen a lot of injuries. What do you think when you see this?
As soon as somebody comes down and plants like that and the knee buckles, to me, that's a long-term knee injury, right? That's at least 6 to 8 months, and which would consider a year. So for me, Markelle Fultz was having a breakout year for the Magic. They were doing really, really well. I had high hopes for them this year. This is, I pray for him and his family and that he gets back. I think he's exciting. He's dynamic. I think he does a lot of things on the court, and I think he brings a little bit of excitement to that very white bread, plain cracker offense from the Magic. But they're going to have to pick it up, man. They have a lot of injuries. A lot of teams are starting to, compound those injuries. So it'll be interesting to see if Cole Anthony Jr. can go out there and do some things.
That's a good point. You mentioned the injuries. Fournier's been out with back spasms. So, Candace, this team, the Orlando Magic, when you have a teammate like Fultz, who is an integral part of what you're trying to do, and you see the injury, you know he's going to be out for the foreseeable future. How does that affect your mindset moving forward? It's early in the year.
Orlando had pulled out some games early in the season that I think a lot of people did not expect them to pull out. If you think about, they were the last undefeated team in the NBA. And I think the expectation and the outlook looked towards Markelle Fultz as well as Cole Anthony, and seeing if they could coexist, similar to how Kyle Lowry as well as Van Fleet coexist in this small, guard league. And with that being said, I think this puts those plays and delays that growth back. And I don't know what the foreseeable future holds for the Orlando Magic with the direction that they go. Do they go and trade? Because as of right now, are they content battling, for a 6 or 7 or 8 seed? And, to me, if you're not winning championships, you have to have that winning mentality. And so it's just unfortunate for the kid, for Fultz, just can he catch a break? And I think I've been in that position where it's been tough with injury after injury. Channing, you've had injuries. It's terrible, and just the mindset. And so I just wish him and his family the best, and thoughts and prayers, because I hope he gets back and gets back to where he was.
Absolutely, because he was having a tremendous season to this point. So we do wish him the best and a very speedy recovery. Ladies and gentlemen, it's early. 11 games around the association. Steph Curry, we know what he's capable of, but he continues to impress us. Last 5 games, 37 points he's averaging. We'll be back.